Have you ever stopped to consider that the last 4 decades might not have been *lived*, but rather *wasted*? It sounds harsh, I know, but it's a reality for most. Wake up, work, pay bills, worry, and call it a life. The burning question is, if the law of attraction actually works, why aren't you already enjoying what you crave? The biggest hurdle for so many isn't a lack of desire, but a deep-seated lack of faith in their ability to achieve it. It's like an invisible wall whispering, "This isn't for you. Accept your reality and give up on your dreams." And tragically, most people buy into this lie. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. If you can clearly define what you want, I can show you how to get it. It may sound audacious, but it's the truth of how the universe operates. It's as reliable as gravity. Whether it's a luxury car, a cozy home, financial freedom, or an amazing relationship, the method is the same. The universe doesn't pick and choose, it responds solely to your vibration. The problem isn't the desire itself, it's the lack of focus. When you claim to want prosperity but spend your days fretting over debt, what energy are you actually broadcasting? The universe doesn't understand words, it understands frequencies. The frequency of worry is scarcity. The frequency of anxiety is lack. The frequency of doubt is resistance. The result? You attract more of the same. I vividly remember a time when my finances were a complete mess, my debt exceeded my annual income. Month after month, I sank deeper, seeing no way out. My biggest mistake? Constantly obsessing over how I'd pay my bills. I woke up worried, spent the day worried, and went to sleep worried. I didn't realize that was precisely why nothing changed. What you think about intensely and repeatedly, you attract. I wasn't attracting solutions, I was attracting more bills, more debt, more problems. That's why so many people chase the same goals for decades without ever catching them. Ever caught yourself thinking, "I just want to breathe without worrying about money"? Even that seemingly innocent thought carries a frequency of scarcity. It's like trying to escape a maze while only focusing on the walls. You'll never find the exit. Research in behavioral economics reveals that over 70% of people prioritize not losing money before even considering making more. This creates a defensive, survival-based mindset, not a growth mindset. The key is shifting your focus. Want prosperity? Think abundance. Want health? Think vitality. Want better relationships? Think love and connection. It's not about ignoring problems, but refusing to let them dominate your mind. Think of a radio. If you want classical music but stay tuned to a negative news station, you can complain all you want, the music won't play. Your mind works the same way. Consider people who've radically transformed their lives by changing this mental tune. Jim Carrey, for instance, wrote himself a $10 million check while still a struggling comedian, kept it, and read it daily. He focused not on his struggles, but on the desired outcome. Years later, he received exactly that amount for a film. What changed? His mental frequency. While most are stuck in, "I can't," some dare to live in, "I already am, I already have, I already deserve." How often have you declared a desire for change, yet continued repeating the same actions, thoughts, and conversations? How often have you tried to solve financial problems by solely cutting expenses without considering increasing your income? How often have you believed happiness was only possible after solving your problems, instead of choosing happiness now to attract more reasons to be happy? The difference between those who succeed and the rest is simple: believing it's possible and maintaining that belief with coherent thoughts, feelings, and actions. The law of attraction doesn't fail, people's application of it does. They ask for prosperity but vibrate scarcity. They want health but vibrate worry. They desire love but vibrate loneliness. The question is, what's been your vibration these past few years? Because the answer explains your current results. Everything you desire already exists, but not in the reality you currently perceive. Every goal, every dream, resides at a specific frequency. It's like a radio signal, thousands of stations broadcast simultaneously, but you only hear the one you're tuned to. If you're not hearing the music you want, it's not because it doesn't exist, it's because you're on the wrong station. Most people desire prosperity yet are immersed in conversations about crisis, inflation, and unemployment. They say they want freedom but spend hours complaining about jobs they hate. They want love but dwell on past disappointments. They want health but feed daily thoughts of fear and illness. That's like trying to listen to jazz on a violent news station. No matter how much you twist the dial, you'll only get more of the same. I learned this with a simple yet effective analogy: your cell phone. It has a unique number. If I call that number, it doesn't matter if you're in Brazil, Japan, or Buenos Aires, your phone will ring. Why? Because both phones connect on the same frequency. The same applies to you and what you desire. The money you want is on a frequency. The health you want is on a frequency. The relationship you dream of is on a frequency. What determines if you connect is the alignment of your mind. That's what I realized when I started shifting my focus. Before, my mind was always tuned to the frequency of debt, fear, and scarcity. No matter how much I desired something better, I couldn't attract it because I was sending the wrong signal. The transformation began when I started filling my thoughts with images of abundance. I hadn't achieved any of it in the physical world, but in my mind, I started living as if it were already real. Gradually, this frequency shift started bringing new opportunities, new contacts, new ideas. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the law of attraction. It's not about wishing hard and waiting for it to fall from the sky, it's about harmonizing your mind to the point where you feel aligned with what you desire. When you change your frequency, you attract people, circumstances, and resources that vibrate on the same wavelength. It's like doors that were always closed suddenly begin to open. Consider Oprah Winfrey. Born into extreme poverty, facing unimaginable abuse and obstacles, she still, at a young age, began visualizing and feeling within herself the life she wanted to live. No matter where she was, her mind was on another station, tuned to abundance, impact, and success. Her story is undeniable proof that when you change your frequency, you change everything. And this isn't just philosophy, science shows our brain works like an antenna. Neuroscience research reveals that when we cultivate positive thoughts and mental images of abundance, brain areas responsible for motivation and creativity activate, releasing dopamine and strengthening connections that make us more adept at identifying opportunities in the real world. In other words, when you change your internal tuning, you start seeing paths that were previously hidden. Now honestly reflect, what station have you been living on these past years? When someone asks how you are, do your words reinforce abundance or scarcity? Do you talk more about achievements or problems? Because everything you repeat in words, thoughts, and emotions becomes the frequency you transmit to the universe. And the universe, like a mirror, simply reflects back the same energy it receives. The magic happens when you consciously decide to change the station. When you refuse to remain stuck on the station of lack and start tuning your mind to the station of prosperity, freedom, health, and love. That's when the things you seek stop seeming distant and start drawing closer, like iron to a magnet. Because it's not desire that attracts, it's frequency. Paradigms. Those four letters hold a silent prison. I spent half my life unaware I was imprisoned by paradigms, ideas ingrained since childhood that control 95% of what we do. When you were born, everything that entered your mind was accepted unquestioningly. Babies have no filter, they receive sound, smell, image, and idea. And it goes straight to the subconscious. Your self-image, that little voice saying, "This is for me," or "This isn't for me," was built there, forming the paradigm that governs your behavior. It's not fiction, it's how we function. We have a divided mind, the conscious part thinks, reasons, decides, the subconscious accepts everything, making no distinction between real and imagined. You can imagine something with such detail that your subconscious accepts it as truth. This is an advantage and a trap. Most people feed their subconscious with themes of scarcity. It won't work, I'm not good enough, it always happens to me. These ideas crystallize into paradigms. So, when you try to change your life with rational reasoning, you hit the paradigm wall. Ever noticed why so many people know what to do but don't do it? Superior knowledge and inferior results. This discrepancy exists because the paradigm still commands. I clearly remember the day someone showed me this mechanism. Lost, directionless, with deplorable results, a man sat down with me and drew a simple diagram, the mind as two circles, conscious on top, subconscious below, and the body as an instrument in the center. He said, your subconscious accepts everything. It doesn't distinguish between what you imagine and what you've experienced. If you don't direct the content, you'll repeat old responses to new problems. I felt a mix of anger and relief. Anger at realizing how often I'd sabotaged myself without knowing. Relief at finally understanding it wasn't chronic incompetence, it was programming. It was a revelation. For the first time, I didn't feel defeated by the world, I felt I could reprogram my own system. That was an emotional turning point. I went from resigned submission to a will to act, a spark of hope that burned in my chest for a week. To break this pattern, first identify the paradigm. Ask yourself, what phrases do I automatically repeat about money, relationships, work? How often have you used, "It's always been this way," as an excuse? What childhood memories dictate your recipe for success or failure? It's no use having a goal if your internal programming says the opposite. The conscious mind can set goals, but the subconscious will maintain automatic behavior until rewritten. Now, how to change this, and I want to be specific because abstraction doesn't transform lives. First, control what enters. If your mind is a house, you decide who comes through the door. Reduce negative news consumption, talk less about limitations, adapt your environment to reflect your desired future, images, books, people already living at your desired frequency. Second, use conscious repetition, write down the new thought and expose your subconscious to it daily. Take a card and clearly write, I create X, money, health, relationship, in this way by this date. Read it aloud morning and night. Third, visualize with detail, not a vague thought, but a complete scene, where you are, who's beside you, smells, sensations. Remember, the subconscious doesn't differentiate between imagined and real. Fourth, act as if, change small routines that prove to your subconscious you're already in the new reality, clothing, schedules, activities corresponding to the new you. Fifth, seek models, align yourself with mentors, books, and environments that already possess the paradigm you desire. I learned techniques from people who already knew how to operate this law. Changing a paradigm requires patience and method. Neuroscience shows that repetitions form neural pathways, neuroplasticity. Repeated thoughts reinforce synapses, repeated imaginations shape circuits. The practice is simple and has a basis, what's lacking is perseverance. Many give up as soon as the old automatic response tries to pull them back. That's why support strategies are essential, a morning routine reinforcing the new, an accountability partner, an environment that doesn't feed the old story. I propose a practical exercise, identify one limiting paradigm, for example, money is for others, not for me. Write down when and from whom you think you learned this. Then, write the opposite statement in the first person and present tense, I attract prosperity with my ideas and actions. Read this statement 20 times upon waking and 20 times before sleeping for 7 days. Visualize for 5 minutes midday as if you already have this prosperity, the smell, the touch, the feeling in your body. Simultaneously, change a small action confirming this new belief, open a savings account, call a potential client, enroll in a course. If you maintain this practice, the subconscious will start accepting the new truth, and results will align. You might argue, I've tried, and it didn't work. Then I ask, how many times did you try without method, without repetition, without changing your environment? How many times did you stop at the first sign of discomfort? Breaking paradigms is uncomfortable, it's shaking the foundations, but the reward is creating a life you truly direct. Paradigms aren't condemnations, they are programs you can rewrite. The initial step is humble and powerful, recognizing a paradigm exists and deciding, for the first time, to be the author of your own mind. Most people live as supporting actors in their own movie. They wake up, follow a routine someone else defined, work in jobs they didn't truly choose, follow societal norms, and at the end of the day, merely survive. Their lives seem to happen backstage, while the main role is played by someone else. Have you noticed how common this is? People complaining about lack of time, choice, opportunities, but continue repeating the same script, never realizing they should be directing the show. When you don't take the director's seat, you automatically hand control to others. Your boss decides your worth, your family dictates your actions, and fear limits your courage. Many believe this is normal, that being trapped in patterns and limitations is everyone's destiny. It's not. The difference between being a supporting actor and a protagonist is understanding that life isn't something that happens to you, but something that happens because of you. I remember a time when I let circumstances carry me along. I worked as a firefighter, a stable life, fixed salary, predictable routine, some security. But inside, I felt like an extra in a huge movie, always following orders, always in the background, never the star of my own story. It was frustrating because deep down, I knew there was more, but I had no idea how to access it. The change began when I realized I was trying to write a grand life with someone else's pen. That's when I decided, either I take the lead role, or I'll spend my life applauding others. This decision transformed apathy into courage. I moved from resignation to a vibrant sense of possibility. Some public figures illustrate this contrast. Nikola Tesla, for example, refused to be a supporting actor. He imagined his inventions so vividly that he could mentally test them before physically building them. He didn't wait for the world's permission, he wrote and directed his own movie. What many called madness was creative protagonism in its purest form. Those who refuse this role inevitably end up stuck in secondary roles, living stories written by others, never experiencing the power of creating their own narrative. The law of attraction only responds to protagonists. When you become the director, you start writing scenes, dialogues, and endings that reflect your desires. But if you remain a supporting actor, your energy is diffuse, your frequency passive, and you attract only scraps of what you could have. It's like expecting the universe to give you the grand prize when you haven't even entered the game. This is reflected in all areas, at work, accepting any salary instead of asserting your value, in relationships, settling for crumbs of attention, in health, waiting to get sick before taking care of yourself. Science confirms this difference. Psychology studies show that people who see themselves as protagonists have higher well-being, greater resilience, and even longer lifespans. They develop an internal locus of control, the perception that their choices directly impact the outcomes. Those who see themselves as supporting actors, believing everything depends on luck, the government, or others, tend to experience more anxiety, more stress, and less personal fulfillment. This isn't coincidence, it's a direct reflection of the mental frequency they choose to maintain. Now think about you. How many times have you realized you were living someone else's script? How many times were your dreams postponed because it seemed safer to follow the path everyone else took? How many times did you swallow your voice to fit into roles that weren't yours? Each of these choices reinforced your supporting actor position. Ever feel like you're stuck in a rut, playing a supporting role in your own life's movie? You're meant to be the star, but somehow you're constantly reacting, instead of directing. The truth is, the moment you take the reins, everything changes. Suddenly, the audience, your subconscious, your circumstances, cheers you on. Challenges don't disappear, but they become plot points, not the ending. You call the shots, you set the scene, you decide when to turn the page. The problem isn't a lack of opportunity, it's a misalignment of your internal frequency. Let's say you're drowning in debt. Focusing on getting rid of debt is a losing strategy. Your mind doesn't understand negation, it only grasps the image you project. Saying, "I want to get rid of debt," keeps the image of debt front and center, attracting more of the same. It's like tuning your radio to a station playing nothing but static, you're only going to hear static. The universe doesn't respond to intentions, it reacts to the vibrations you emit, the dominant images and emotions you cultivate. This was my own experience. I was buried under debt, more than I made in a year. I was constantly calculating, trying to square the unsquareable. The harder I focused on my debt, the more it seemed to grow. Then, a mentor gave me some life-changing advice: stop focusing on eliminating debt. Aim for wealth. It sounded crazy, being swamped in red ink, but shifting my focus changed everything. I wrote $25,000 on a card and looked at it daily. For the first time, I visualized abundance, not scarcity. Opportunities started appearing, a floor cleaning gig, something I'd have previously overlooked. But my mind was attuned to wealth. I saw it as a stepping stone. That small job became my first business, and before long, I conquered the debt and built prosperity. Science backs this up. Our brains filter reality based on what we deem relevant. That's the reticular activating system. Buy a red car, and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there, you're just noticing them now. The same applies to money. If you're fixated on debt, you only see obstacles. Focus on wealth, and you'll suddenly spot opportunities you never saw before. It's like changing the lens through which you view the world. Countless people are trapped in a cycle of debt, thinking a raise or budget cuts will fix it. But they are still focused on escaping debt, so the pattern persists. The universe doesn't distinguish between intention and the dominant image in your mind. You may desire freedom, but if all you see are overdue bills, that's what you'll attract. Successful people don't waste mental energy on scarcity, they focus on creation, expansion, and growth. Even when facing financial challenges, they immediately shift their attention to generating more resources, increasing their value, and creating new income streams. So, ask yourself, are you feeding your mind images of mounting bills, or a vibrant flow of prosperity? Stop saying, I just want to pay my bills, because that's essentially a plea to remain in scarcity. Instead, ask, how can I create more value and increase my income? That's how you reprogram your brain's radar. Don't fight the debt, build a new mental picture: abundance, flow, wealth. Make that image so vivid, so persistent, it becomes your default setting. Your frequency shifts, your results shift. It's inevitable. The law of attraction isn't failing, it's perfectly mirroring the picture you consistently project. Your frequency determines your reality. Ready to take the next step? Click the link for the next video, it's waiting for you. Thanks for joining me, see you in the next one.